So, Coach, I have some questions for you. When and how did you become interested in martial arts?
Well, the first time I would say was when I was 12 years old. Is actually when I started actual classes in martial arts. My liking for martial arts, maybe before that, I always had interest in Asian culture, specifically more the fighting aspect, like the samurais and such and such. I was very intrigued by it. So my first stepping into it was karate, which is Wadokai style karate. It was at a YMCA. I actually wanted to start in Kung Fu. Yes, of course, highly influenced by Bruce Lee and the nice, awesome Shaw Brothers Kung Fu movies, which I still enjoy to this day. So I did that, reaching blue belt, I think. I forget. And then once I was getting older and able to go out on my own, I started at 15 doing Silam-Hungar Kung Fu. All these were in Montreal too. So being older, meaning I was able to go. This was downtown, so this was the big issue for them. But I was able to go on my own, and so I was finally able to do Kung Fu. And I continued Kung Fu until even still my university days. I went up to brown sash, getting very close to the black sash or black belt. But then I discovered, as they say, the light. I saw other styles. I started at university doing freestyle and Greco-Roman wrestling. Not at my university, but at a other club, and that really, let's say, woke me up. Not so much on the art but the way the training was. That it's there's resistance. It's free and flowing, and it's you do it or you're taken down. Then I also did Muay Thai, a very direct, simple, non-complex striking art, and that woke me up too. That things don't have to be complicated to be efficient. So I was doing all at the same time, Kung Fu, Muay Thai, but then gradually I knew something had to drop. I was getting, let's say, not so much disappointed, but no satisfaction. That I tried to do sparring in the Kung Fu, and it was kind of frowned upon. Don't do this, don't hit too hard. And I was basically packed my bags, said thank you for the training, and continued on with that. And that was here. So that was my start, as we say. So it was karate, but getting to the reality combat sports was Muay Thai and freestyle and Greco-Roman wrestling.
Okay, that was in Montreal.
That was all in Montreal, exactly.
That was before you left for Asia.
Yes, right after finishing my degree in East Asian Studies at McGill, I wanted to, again, being the believer in practicality over theory, I wanted to see what I actually studied. While I was at McGill, I went twice to Asia. I went once to a Muay Thai camp in Bangkok, which was a very eye-opener experience. Very different than the ones now, where now you can just apply online and get your air-conditioned room and whatever. That time I went I was introduced by my Muay Thai instructor, and that gym was the first time a white fellow came in to train. So half the gym lovely, the other half one on my head on a spike. So so I went to Asia. I went to Taiwan first, teaching in Taipei, and I was doing Sanda, Chinese kickboxing. So I was doing a lot more striking. There was not that much grappling around. Kind of meddled around, did some judo, but mainly did Sanda, and I competed in a full contact competition there. And then my biggest change when I moved to Japan, studied there, and then finally working, that's where I had exposure to more of the, let's say, the mixed martial arts, the reality combat systems, is when I was in Taiwan. I was looking at martial art magazines from Japan. I was going, wow, what's this? Really opened me up. So I trained. That's where I started my sambo, combat sambo training. I was doing judo on the side and still doing kickboxing too.
So could you give us a list of your certifications and your affiliations?
Yeah, so I have with the first one is the Japan Sambo Federation. I'm a second dan in Sambo under them. People say, well, there's no belts in Sambo, so how it can be? But it's a Japanese ranking system. They have ranking system in wrestling and everything. It's just a Japanese, it's a cultural thing. They have it in tea ceremony and calligraphy, so it's a cultural thing. Again, with Japan, I'm a affiliate Pancras trainer. Pancras is an MMA, one of the first MMA groups that are still alive in Japan. And I still, when I go back to Japan, I still visit their dojo and train with them. I have a Quebec boxing coach's certification, and I have a Taipei Chinese boxing coach's certification. And right now I'm president of the Canadian Combat Sambo Federation.
Okay. At what exact point did you decide to teach martial arts?
When I was starting martial arts back in the days, I always thought it would be cool to kind of have my dojo, but that was just like, I think everyone thinks of that when they start, I want to get my black belt and open up my own school. But it faded away. When I came back from Asia, I did not really think of opening up a school. I just wanted to continue on training in Sambo. And I found there was none here. I thought there was, but there wasn't. So I contacted my my instructor in Japan, and I kind of wanted to get some guidance. He said, sure, fine, to help spread out the art. So I took the leap to open up a school.
Okay. And what continues to motivate you today to teach?
That's a very difficult question. As any instructor, albeit martial arts, or any coach or school instructors, I have to motivate people. Mm-hmm. And the question I tell people is how does a motivator motivate himself? Mm-hmm. So, but why I continue is because I like to see progression in my students, seeing them evolve, getting better, makes me happy. And I like to see, and people telling me, giving back, wow, I feel better now, I'm more confident, giving back some positive replies, and makes me happy to see that. And of course, also continue to spread the art of combat sambo.
Okay. So you've given us an overview of your history in martial arts, and this ties into the next question: is how do your experiences in different martial arts influence your teaching method currently?
Yeah, because I've been exposed to different martial arts, the nice thing about combat sambo, it's not a rigid system. It's not a system where it's written in stone, where everything is by the book. You do this, you do that. It's still an open system. There are techniques all similar, but just like MMA, everyone can add their own flavor in. So there are things I would add in from the Chinese martial arts that I would think are applicable, and so it's keeping a positive eye open, and also, even though, like I said, I stopped training in certain arts, I still respect them a lot. It's always to have a respect for the other martial arts. So doesn't mean because if you don't train in it, doesn't mean you have to not respect it. Mm-hmm. It's with anything in life too. I mean, you might not have a belief in it, but still respect the others.
Okay. Could you tell us some of the main challenges and responsibilities involved in the teaching of martial arts?
Way too much. It's apart from managing your own school. That's another. That could be another video series. Just being the instructor
Yeah.
is the people think is instructors just walk in and just teach a course and just walk out. There's planning involved, progression of the students, dealing with certain situations, let's say for self-defense, whatever, and keeping harmony within the school too. So you have to also be the instructor, be the coach, be the professor, and to make sure that to get respect from your students, you have to respect them too.
Mm-hmm. I guess this ties into my next question. As you've just mentioned, martial arts is not limited to technical combat skills, but also involves a certain ethical dimension as far as right attitude, right conduct, preparedness, and balance, motivation is involved. So how important is this personal and ethical dimension of martial arts in your view, and what is the teacher's role in this respect?
Of course, martial art is not just a physical thing. It's not just do this, do this. It's a physical motion. There's you can call it a spiritual aspect, a mental development of inside development of one's of a person. Because the vast majority of people are not doing martial arts to compete. I mean, we have some competitors, but I have to understand, and all people understand, that not everyone will be competing full-time professionally, but they still want to learn. By doing, especially combat sambo, where there's sparring, there's live action sparring, resistance, people gain a lot of confidence in that. Of course, sometimes some arts are not for others, but you gain a lot of confidence knowing, wow, I'm starting to get better when I'm sparring. People will come in and get thrown around, get hit around, and then after a while noticing, oh, I'm developing. So it's you get a lot more confidence. So it's not just for your martial arts skills, but it's in life too, because as we all know, life goes up and down. It's not always happy stories, so you know how to deal with pressure, go with the flow, and have a strong mind. Mm-hmm. So for me, for that is I want to instill that in my students, not just be a fighting machine, but to have respect out for others, and hopefully have confidence in their life.
Good. So beyond the acquisition of combat skills, it also has important on one's life outside of the dojo.
Yes, because we're not going to I don't want everyone to be going outside and fighting. So like, I want a street fight. It's more to there's health-wise too.
That's right.
Our inner is to have a healthy lifestyle too. So that's I have to by being an instructor also I have to myself be an image of that to be a healthy coach, right. Healthy lifestyle, positive imagery, because that's going to go directly on to my students. Well,
this ties into my next question, which is, what are some of the personal qualities required to teach martial arts?
You need a lot of patience. You have to know. You have to be in control. Since you're the instructor, you can't just have it as a open group. Someone has to be in command. You don't abuse your command, but you have to get things organized, or else there will be no development. There will be no structure. So able to go with the flow too, because sometimes there are times I want to be teaching this, and I notice things from a couple weeks back are not going well. We'll review that. So you can't always be rigid. Same thing on your training. I'm not feeling well, I'm not going to do what's on my program. I have to listen to myself. So sometimes you have to listen to and see what's going on, and get things going, flowing. So you have to, there has to be, like I said, you have to be in command, but you have to have also interaction with your students to like I said before, to get respect, you have to respect others too.
Okay. So can a martial arts teacher ever claim to have reached the end of?
Some will. I know all, and no one can teach me. I don't believe in that. To be, like people will say, to be a good teacher, you still have to be a good student.
Yeah.
Like when I go back to Japan to train at the Pancras Dojo in Yokohama, I still learn things. I can easily say, oh, I don't have to go there, I know enough. There's always, especially in this, in MMA or combat sambo, there's always development going on. So you have to keep your eye open always to what's going on. Not so much that you will be teaching it to people, but also how to defend against it. Same thing with physical training, is to see different variations and add things. So personally, no, I think you can't close the books, keep them open, because there's always going to be something there for you.
Thank you very much, Coach. These are all the questions I had for you.
You're welcome. Thanks.